Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey, and today we're going to talk about the great YouTube Purge.
Texas City removes popular gorilla statue for being racially insensitive.
You may be confused. What's a gorilla statue being removed from a park have to do with the YouTube Purge? Well, we'll get back to that in a bit. First, let's talk about the Purge. What is it? Well, it's a theory that YouTube is going after conservative creators and removing them from the platform. In the last week, we've seen channels like Suit Yourself removed, while others have had strikes which prevent the creators from doing live streaming for 3 months if the strike isn't reversed. Channels like Baked Alaska, Andy Worski, Sinatras Case, and even InfoWars. Then we saw Sargon lose access to his Google account completely. The evidence looks pretty solid for a conservative purge. But is that really what's going on? Let's back up for a moment. The first time I heard conservatives were being targeted on YouTube was about a week before I uploaded my first video. It all started when Mr. Repsion uploaded this.
On top of that, I wake up and in my email inbox, I have an email from YouTube. Now, I don't get emails from YouTube very often, so naturally I was quick to click, only to find that I don't know if this is a new thing, but I'm pretty pissed off about it. I don't know if other people have experienced this, but a bunch of my videos have been demonetized. And if you don't know what that means in YouTube jargon, that simply means that ad revenue, to make any ad revenue off of those videos, has been taken away. These are a list of almost all the videos, and I actually got a second email this morning, very similar to this, of a bunch of newer videos that I've made that have also been quote-unquote demonetized because it's not quote-unquote advertiser friendly.
A lot of people from this genre came out angry at conservatives being targeted for demonetization. Turns out it wasn't just conservatives. In what's become a trend, YouTube just kinda fucked up. They updated the bot that looks for questionable content, and conservatives got caught up in it because of certain words, mostly suicide and anything to do with Islam. But it turns out it wasn't just conservatives. Even channels like the Young Turks got hit. This situation has repeated itself a few times. We heard the same thing with the Adpocalypse and Adpocalypse 2.0, as well as with changes made to Restricted Mode. Restricted Mode was a glaring example of conservatives overreacting, as it turns out LGBT channels got hit just as hard as anyone else. The backlash from that was so bad, YouTube almost immediately reversed course and started allowing disturbing gay and lesbian videos on Restricted Mode. The point is that conservatives on YouTube have cried wolf on this issue a few times. Are they crying wolf again, or are the wolves really here? Take Sargons Case. While Sargon's channels weren't terminated, his Google account was suspended. He wasn't able to access any of his channels due to looking like it was being used in a way that violated Google's policies. The wolves are clearly here. Well, not exactly. According to Trusted Flagger, Sargon got caught up in a sweep of accounts with channels that were terminated for copyright in 2017. Sargon's recently got back his account and uploaded a video discussing this yesterday.
So I'm back into my YouTube channel. I'd just like to thank everyone for their kind support and let you know what I think has happened, but I don't know whether this is the case, so this may be subject to change. I think that in a rather draconian fashion, YouTube are applying a rule to my account from an event that happened over a year ago regarding Destiny leveling copyright strikes, 4 of them at once, on my then secondary channel called The New Media. These were clips from a live stream with him and JonTron, and I had commented on them in the description and the title of the video, but he copyright struck them anyway, and it became a political slap fight, and I decided to let him have it, because honestly, I didn't need the channel. But at the time I had no notification that this was going to affect my Google account, and it didn't, and I would appeal the strikes if I could get back into my YouTube account.
Okay, so that explains Sargon, but what about everybody else? What about Sinatras Case, for example? He was live streaming a response to the CNN Parkland shooting town hall when he got his strike, ending the stream right as he was talking. There's actually an explanation, and as with so many other times, it seems to be YouTube's incompetence.
YouTube's new moderators mistakenly pull right-wing channels. YouTube's new moderators, brought in to spot fake, misleading, and extreme videos, stumbled in one of their first major tests, mistakenly removing some clips and channels in the midst of a nationwide debate on gun control. The Google division said in December it would assign more than 10,000 people to moderate content after a year of scandals over fake and inappropriate content on the world's largest video site. In the wake of the February 14th school shooting in Parkland, Florida, some YouTube moderators mistakenly removed several videos and some channels from right-wing pro-gun video producers and outlets. As we work to hire rapidly and ramp up our policy enforcement teams throughout 2018, newer members may misapply some of our policies, resulting in mistaken removals, a YouTube spokeswoman wrote in an email. We're continuing to enforce our existing policy regarding harmful and dangerous content. They have not changed. We'll reinstate any videos that were removed in error.
Was it a mistake, or are they just trying to cover their ass? We can only speculate, but the evidence is kind of on their side. In a leaked memo, we learned what new hires were told to look for. They were told to look for controversial things, drugs, sex and nudity, violence, and inappropriate language. But they also added this bit, other potentially problematic content. Potentially problematic. This is the biggest problem with YouTube here. Their rules are too fucking vague. Any idiot can get offended at anything. Like, say, a gorilla statue in a children's park. None of this is to say YouTube doesn't have a clear bias. There is a reason conservatives get caught up in this shit every time YouTube makes a change. They tend to target subject matter more likely to be discussed by conservative creators while giving clear exceptions to more liberal content. In those guidelines for new hires, when discussing controversial content, it specifically says controversial content does not include content made by or about LGBT people, which is why I'm glad I came out as a lesbian. It's nice to know that if I ever decide to create a kids show preaching the virtues of hot women prison sex, I won't be flagged for it. Yes, YouTube has a clear bias. We all saw the virtue signaling crap on Valentine's Day. But they are more tolerant than they're given credit for. In my year plus on this platform, I've said some pretty offensive things. The worst that's happened to me is I've had 2 videos completely demonetized, 2 videos put behind an 18+ wall, and several videos deemed not appropriate for all advertisers. Look, there's a good chance a lot of us are going to get flagged with this new hire group, but there's no real evidence it's because YouTube wants to silence conservatives. The new hires were given a very vague set of rules, and in typical YouTube fashion, they went scorched earth rather than surgical strike. Anti-SJWs, conservative skeptics, whatever you want to call people on this side of the political fence, we're more likely to get caught up in this because of the subject matter we cover. We tend to challenge social issues and talk about major political events. The problem is that YouTube's policies are too vague, which even YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki knows.
The problem is when someone will do something that is egregious, but it doesn't fully violate the policy, or they get, 1 strike but not 3 strikes. And so that was actually why this announcement that we had on Friday we thought was really important, is it does give us a lot more levers and opportunities to be able to implement and pull back any kind of services for creators if they are violating or doing something egregious on our platform. But he basically, to answer your question, he hasn't done anything that would cause those 3 strikes. And so we can't just be pulling people off of our platform. If we did just pull people off of our platform because
they're tasteless and vile.
Well, they need to violate a policy, and we need to have consistent behavior. I mean, this is like a code of law.
Let's get to that. Why don't you? You can always. You're Google. You can change the rules, right? Like, you can just say, now we're doing this.
Yes, but like what you think is tasteless, is not necessarily what someone else would see as tasteless. And so I'm just saying we need to have consistent laws, codify that in our policies, so that can be trained and we can apply it consistently to millions of videos and millions of creators.
So
this has been the problem every single time. Any purge may seem to target conservatives, but so far as I've seen, the truth is a little less sinister than trying to silence political opposition. Politics may play a small part, but a far bigger issue is that even YouTube thinks their rules are too fucking vague, yet they keep thinking somehow they can equally apply rules they can't even define. I don't think any conservative purge has happened yet, and at this point, if that day ever comes, I'm not sure we'll even recognize it. Wolf has been cried too many times. The next time this happens, and we're talking about YouTube, a fuck-up happens about every 3 months, so it's coming. Instead of crying purge, maybe wait a couple of days and see what's really going on. At this point, it's far more likely the nice folks at YouTube just have their heads up their asses rather than there being some grand political conspiracy. Alright guys, that is going to wrap up this one. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and share it. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I'm the Ranting Monkey, and I'll see you next time.
And we need to have consistent behavior. I mean, this is like a code of law.
Your bullshit makes me sad.
Daddy magis aja.